Have you ever felt like you're just endlessly waiting for something important, or maybe grappling with a to-do list that just seems to grow and grow, full of steps that feel, well, unnecessary?
Yeah, that feeling of friction, like things just aren't flowing smoothly.
Exactly. We've all been there. But what if there was a really powerful approach, sort of designed to cut through that modern complexity, especially when it comes to, getting products and services delivered?
Hmm.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the lean supply chain. Because let's face it, in today's business world, global, complicated, super demanding efficiency isn't just nice to have anymore.
No, it's absolutely critical. It's table stakes, really.
It's the key to survival to success.
Yeah.
So we've got this comprehensive guide on operational excellence, and it really focuses on the lean supply chain, the concepts, the benefits, how it works.
And the real world results too, which is important.
Right. So our mission here is to cut through all the jargon, give you a shortcut to being properly informed, and show how this lean approach can genuinely transform, well, everything.
Yeah.
From product development right through to keeping customers happy.
And there are some surprising ideas in there, practical stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's maybe set the scene first. This new millennium supply chain. It's a different beast, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Way more global, for starters. Much more complex.
And demanding. Customers expect things faster, cheaper.
And it's less forgiving. Mistakes cost more. Trade barriers are down. Competition is everywhere.
Right. The stakes are higher, margins are tighter. So the big question is, how do businesses even stay competitive in this kind of environment? How do they thrive?
Well, interestingly, the answer often circles back to this core philosophy called lean thinking.
Okay.
It's a business philosophy, really. Toyota made it famous, obviously. But it's all about improving the value for the customer, slashing waste, smoothing out all the activities, and actually making life easier for the people doing the work. It's about systemic improvement.
So it's not just about tools and techniques.
No, not fundamentally. It's built on these guiding principles. Customer first, always. Highest quality service. Lowest possible cost. Fastest lead time. And this is key, respect for people.
Respect for people. That's interesting.
Hugely important. And these aren't just, nice posters for the wall. They're actionable directives. They're how a lean system actually changes how things operate.
Okay, so lean starts with the customer. But you said it's about defining value strictly from the end customer's perspective. Why is that specific distinction so vital? Seems like many businesses might miss that nuance.
It's absolutely critical because if you don't start there, you risk optimizing things the customer genuinely doesn't care about or maybe doesn't even notice.
Right, you're busy making your process efficient, but not necessarily better for them.
Exactly. Lean forces you to map out every single step from the customer's viewpoint. You create what's called a value stream map.
Okay, visualizing the whole flow.
Precisely. And then comes the really powerful part. You challenge every single step on that map by asking why 5 times.
The 5 whys, I've heard of that.
That's the one. It sounds simple, but it's relentless. It pushes you past the symptoms to find the real root cause. Why was the delivery late? Truck broke down. Why? Poor maintenance. Why? Budget cuts. You keep digging.
Until you find the systemic issue.
Exactly. The goal is to make only the value-creating steps flow, one after the other, pulling materials and information based purely on what the customer actually demands right now, not based on forecasts or guesses.
So the absolute core theme, the purpose running through all of lean, is just waste elimination. Getting rid of anything the customer wouldn't willingly pay for.
That's it in a nutshell.
And our source mentioned something pretty shocking. That often less than 5% of the total time or effort in a process actually adds value.
It's often true. Depressingly true sometimes.
Which means 95% is potentially waste. Can you give an example of a hidden waste? Something people might not immediately think of as, say, excessive processing in their daily routine.
Sure. Think about excessive processing like filling out the same information on multiple forms for one application, or maybe getting 3 different emails conferring one simple action.
Okay, yeah, annoying.
Or motion-like, constantly searching for a file on your computer because the folders are a mess. In a supply chain context, these translate into things like defects, overproduction, just plain waiting, inventory piling up.
Not using people's talents properly.
Right. Non-effective use of staff talent is a big one. Excessive processing, motion, transportation, back and forth, inventory, they're all waste. Every single one adds cost, delay, or frustration.
So just to be clear, when we say supply chain in this context,
It's simply that connected chain of all the businesses, internal departments too, external partners.
Yeah.
Everyone involved from the very start, the raw source, right through to the final customer. And the goal is coordinating all those activities to deliver better value, both for the customer and economically. It should be a unified, purposeful flow.
Got it. So if companies manage to implement this, what are the big payoffs? What benefits can they expect from a lean supply chain? The first one mentioned is speed and responsiveness.
Yeah, huge. Lean systems just become faster, more efficient across the whole chain. It creates this bias for action. Quick response becomes the default, not the exception.
And the next one is potentially controversial for some, reduced inventories.
Yes. Because in lean, inventory is fundamentally seen as waste.
Which sounds radical, right? Isn't inventory a safety net?
Well, lean argues it's often a safety net that hides underlying problems. Poor forecasting, unreliable suppliers, messy internal processes, inventory covers those up. Take away the buffer and you're forced to fix the real issues. Many really lean companies operate with surprisingly little raw material work in process or even finished goods inventory.
So how do they manage that?
Through things like make-to-order, one-piece flow, where items move through processes individually, and pull systems using visual signals like Kanban.
Kanban, like a signboard.
Exactly. A visual signal could be digital now that tells you when to make or move the next thing based on actual use. It pulls work through the system, and for raw materials, the ideal is just-in-time or JIT deliveries.
Which must require incredible coordination.
Absolutely. High levels of trust and coordination with suppliers are essential for JIT.
Okay, so if we're streamlining, cutting waste, reducing inventory, it follows that reduced costs would be a major benefit.
Definitely. But it's not just about cutting costs like old-school mass production, which often focused on unit costs but ignored waste elsewhere or customer needs. Lean reduces cost by making the whole system more efficient.
And how does that translate directly into improved customer satisfaction? What's the link?
It's a very direct link. Faster product development means getting new products or updates to market quicker.
So customers get the latest things sooner.
Right. And because the system is more responsive, it's easier to incorporate current customer requirements. You're building what people want now, not what you guessed they wanted 6 months ago.
Okay.
Plus, lean often encourages using smaller, more flexible, less capital-intensive machines. This allows for quicker changeovers, shorter product life cycles, more innovation.
Which leads to more brand loyalty.
Exactly. Customers see you as responsive, innovative. So yeah, a lean supply chain isn't just an operational tactic. It's a genuine competitive weapon.
It allows alignment, continuous improvement, leadership, basically.
But it's not easy. It takes real thought, deep commitment, planning, and maybe most importantly, collaboration across the board.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do companies actually start this? It sounds like a massive undertaking. Where do you even begin to diagnose the problems?
That's where a framework like the SCOR model comes in, Supply Chain Operations Reference Model. It was developed by the Supply Chain Council, which is now part of APSAS.
Okay, XTR. What does it do?
It gives you a standardized language and structure to describe and analyze your supply chain processes. Think of it like a diagnostic toolkit for identifying waste systematically.
Across the whole chain.
Yep. A SCOR breaks it down into 5 key areas: plan, source, make, deliver, and return.
Okay, walk us through those briefly. Plan.
Plan is about how well your sales and operations, planning your S&OP process is working. Are you forecasting accurately? Aligning demand and supply? Or just building inventory nobody wants?
Source.
That's procurement. Applying lean and JIT principles there. Are your suppliers reliable? Are you buying efficiently? Using things like vendor-managed inventory. Manufacturing, assembly, kitting. Where are the bottlenecks, the defects, the unnecessary steps in your actual production?
Deliver.
Logistics, transportation optimization, warehousing. Are you shipping efficiently? Are goods stored logically?
And return.
Yeah, managing returns effectively, dealing with shipping errors, quality problems, warranty claims. How much waste is generated when things come back?
And the source material really stresses that every single part of the chain needs this lean transformation, not just the factory floor.
Absolutely. It has to be holistic.
So let's dig into some of those components. Sales and operations planning, S&OP you mentioned, that's about integrating the marketing side with the supply chain side.
Exactly. It's the process that creates the single company-wide plan for demand and supply, trying to balance the two for competitive advantage, making sure everyone's working off the same numbers. It's foundational.
Then lean suppliers. What makes a supplier lean? Is it just about price?
No, definitely not just price. Lean suppliers are responsive. Yes, they often offer lower prices, but that's because their operations are efficient. Their quality is typically much higher, sometimes so high you can eliminate incoming inspection.
Wow, okay.
They deliver reliably, on time, and crucially, they have a culture of continuous improvement themselves.
And how do you develop that relationship?
You have to include them in your value stream mapping, actively encourage, and sometimes even help them with their own lean transformation. Toyota is famous for this. They challenge their suppliers, but they also help them improve.
Treating them like partners.
Exactly. Extensions of your own business. Involving them early in product design can be huge for identifying cost savings right from the start.
And managing all this needs a structured approach, right? That's supplier relationship management, or SRM.
Yes. SRM is about managing those interactions effectively, streamlining processes between you and your suppliers, creating that common frame of reference.
Okay.
A big part of it is supplier stratification, understanding who your truly strategic partners are, not just based on how much you spend, but thinking about risk, how critical they are operationally, long-term fit, loyalty.
There you focus your efforts.
Right. And you need clear governance-defined roles, meeting schedules, ways to resolve issues, and performance management through things like service-level agreements, SLAs. Clear expectations.
Makes sense. Okay, moving on to lean procurement. You mentioned visibility earlier.
Visibility is everything here. Suppliers need insight into customer demand and inventory levels. Customers need insight into supplier capacity and lead times. It's about sharing information openly to create that smooth flow.
And tools help with that.
Definitely. E-procurement is huge using the internet, EDI, electronic data interchange, that standardized digital language.
Or integrated ERP systems.
Right. These systems automate so much. Online catalogs, requisitions, purchase orders, they replace slow, manual processes, give you real-time data, and can even show pricing from multiple pre-approved vendors instantly. Makes buying much smarter.
And what about vendor-managed inventory, VMI? How does that fit in?
With VMI, the supplier basically takes responsibility for managing the inventory levels at the customer's location, like a distributor's warehouse.
So the supplier decides when to replenish.
Often, yes. They use shared data, typically via EDI, showing sales and current stock levels, and they proactively manage the replenishment to optimize inventory. Better accuracy, usually better forecasting.
Needs a lot of trust, though.
Absolutely. Trust, good communication, overcoming cultural resistance sometimes, but that relationship focus is paramount. You mentioned the Toyota Aisin fire earlier.
Right, the 1997 fire.
Yeah, destroy their only plant making a critical valve. Toyota only had about 2 days worth of parts because of JIT. Disaster, right?
That's like it.
But then over 200 other firms, competitors even, just self-organized. 63 different companies started making parts. They restarted production in 2 days.
Wow, that's incredible.
It really shows that supply chain management, especially lean, is fundamentally about relationships, trust, and that shared commitment.
Amazing story. Okay, next component, lean manufacturing. This is often where people start with lean, isn't it?
Very often, yeah. Because the potential for cost reduction and quality improvement on the factory floor is usually pretty visible and significant. The core idea is simple. Produce exactly what the customer wants, when they want it, using the minimum possible resources.
But what's a common way people get lean manufacturing wrong? A misconception.
I think a big one is thinking it's just about speed-ups or cutting headcount, making people work harder, faster. That often backfires, leads to burnout, mistakes, poor quality.
So it's not just squeezing more out.
No. True lean manufacturing is about eliminating the unnecessary work, making the value-added work flow smoothly. It's about empowering people on the floor to see waste and fix the process, not just pushing them harder, focusing on value, not just activity.
Got it. Okay, on to lean warehousing, applying the same principles to storage.
Exactly. Eliminating non-value-added steps and waste in all those warehouse processes. Receiving goods, putting them away, replenishing stock, picking orders, packing, shipping.
And there's plenty of waste there too, I imagine.
Oh, loads. Unnecessary movement is a classic. Workers walking miles each shift because the layout isn't logical or popular items are stored far away. Excess inventory sitting there, handling damage, inefficiencies everywhere.
So what are some practical tools for that?
Well, things like ABC storage analysis. You classify items based on value or movement frequency. A items are high value or fast moving. C are low value or slow. Then you store the A items closest to the shipping doors, C items further away. Simple, but saves so much walking.
Reduces that motion waste.
Exactly. And Kanban systems again, those visual signals we talked about, they work brilliantly in warehouses too. Instead of relying solely on a forecast or a complex system, a simple visual cue like an empty bin or a card triggers replenishment based on actual usage. It pulls inventory just when it's needed.
Keeping things flowing based on real demand. Okay, next up, lean transportation.
Right. This involves strategies like consolidating shipments, using core carrier programs to build relationships with specific truckers, optimizing routes, using multi-stop truckloads, cross-docking where goods bypass storage.
Minimizing empty miles on return trips.
Backhauls, yeah. Right-sizing equipment. It's about scrutinizing every aspect of how goods move and eliminating waste there.
And this requires a shift in thinking for logistics folks.
Definitely. The focus moves away from just looking at isolated costs, like the lowest trucking rate per mile, to the total cost of ownership.
Yeah.
You have to consider inventory carrying costs, which can be huge, like 15 to 40% of total logistics costs sometimes.
Wow.
So the cheapest transport mode might actually cost you more overall if it's slow and forces you to hold more inventory. You have to balance costs with transit time, reliability, capability, accessibility, chaseability, the whole picture.
Right, the total impact. And finally, it's not just physical stuff. Lean office. Applying this to admin processes.
Absolutely. Think about product development, order entry, planning, purchasing. These processes are often choked with delays, handoffs, approvals, rework, all forms of waste.
You map those processes too.
You map them, identify the bottlenecks and non-value steps, and apply lean tools like creating continuous flow, using pull systems where appropriate, simplifying forms, standardizing work, even in the office environment.
Okay, so pulling it all together, lean isn't just a project for one department.
No way. It has to be a cooperative process involving everyone. It's about survival and success, really. It demands this ingrained attitude of continuous improvement, that bias for action across all functions, breaking down those old silos between, product development, quality, HR, marketing, finance, purchasing.
Getting everyone focused on reducing waste and creating flow.
Exactly. So the whole supply chain becomes more proactive, resilient, able to handle changes without falling apart. The key design principles really boil down to selecting or developing lean suppliers, driving everything from actual demand, eliminating duplication, and just relentlessly optimizing cutting waste, maybe outsourcing non-core stuff, collaborating constantly.
Focusing on delivery frequency, reducing total cost. Okay, let's make this concrete.
Yeah.
The source had some great case studies. Tesco, the UK retailer.
Yeah, fantastic example. They focused on lean logistics for things like cola. They managed to slash the time it took from the filling line to the customer walking out the store from 20 days down to just 5 days.
20 days to 5, that's huge.
By cutting inventory points from 5 down to 2, even eliminating one of the supplier's distribution centers entirely. They achieved a 30% jump in vehicle effectiveness and credited lean thinking using concepts like one-touch replenishment for about $400 million in increased profit.
Incredible results. And there was another one, Scarpe, the Italian footwear retailer.
Right. They applied lean to their warehouse operations. In their inbound area, just redesigning the layout and using one-piece flow for labeling saved over 15 hours a week.
Wow.
In their accessory section, changing the layout again, adding dedicated workstations, adapting their systems saved 21 hours a week by cutting transport waste and double handling.
Simple changes, big impact.
And for return clothes, they standardized the workflow, cut transport waste again, and optimized space, dramatically fitting over 200 more pallets in the same area just by compacting processes and changing the layout. Tangible, measurable improvements.
Those examples really show the power of applying these principles systematically. What an amazing journey through the lean supply chain we've had.
Yeah, it covers a lot of ground.
We started with those modern challenges, defined what lean really is at its core: customer value, waste elimination, respect for people. We looked at the benefits, the SCOR model as a framework.
And then dove into suppliers, procurement, manufacturing, warehousing, transport, even the office.
Exactly. And those Tesco and Scarpe cases really drive home the impact. What really strikes me is how understanding this helps you, the listener, see hidden waste everywhere. Not just in factories or warehouses, but in almost any process.
It really does change how you look at things.
It gives you a lens to think more strategically about efficiency and value in your own work, your own life even. So let's leave you with a final thought to chew on. If it's true that nearly every process has less than 5% real value-added activity, think about the untapped potential lying dormant in the everyday systems you interact with.
Huge potential.
And how could applying that simple yet really powerful principle of asking why 5 times begin to uncover some of that hidden waste and unlock improvement?